Welcome to Switzerland. Did you know that our country is not just a great place to visit, but also your first-class business location? We are centrally located in Europe and we have the world's best infrastructure. Oh, and the train is always on time, so let's take a journey. Did you know that Switzerland has 4 official languages? Ja? No? Forse? Vece dia? Don't worry, we also have excellent English skills. However, we don't spend all day chatting. We love to work. In 2012, we could have voted for longer holidays, and we voted against them. It's crazy, isn't it? But we're not crazy. Our economy and government are among the world's most stable. That, combined with our outstanding talent pool and a deregulated labor market, makes Switzerland the most innovative and competitive nation in the world. Our Swiss dual education system provides an excellent mix of both vocational education and apprenticeships. Now let's take a look at industry. Maybe Germany, the United States, and China are well known for their industrial output. But did you know that Swiss industrial production per capita beats all of them? Sorry, guys. Our country is small, but hey, 3 Swiss companies are among the global top 20 most valuable companies. Furthermore, we offer the best quality of life. That's why 3 Swiss cities are among the world's best for the highest quality of living. In addition, Switzerland is one of the happiest nations on the globe. Perhaps because we eat on average 12 kilograms of chocolate per year? Switzerland is the best location for innovation, has stable political, economic, and financial conditions, has the highest living standard, and welcomes your business. So tell us now, when will you invest in Switzerland? Switzerland Global Enterprise, enabling new business. Find out more at s-ge.com.
For us in the Aditya Birla Group, Odisha has been one of our most preferred investment destinations. Chief Minister Shri Naveen Patnaik's exceptional leadership has been the singular factor in the rapid progress of Odisha. The state government has leveraged its competitive advantages, including its progressive policies and governance framework, are a big pull factor.
I welcome you to Odisha. Come, join the juggernaut.
In healthcare, a vast ecosystem is helping therapy innovators become more patient-centric and more effective than ever before. Cytiva supports researchers, biopharma, and clinicians in the pursuit of more targeted treatments. In discovery, speed and accuracy are everything. The faster and smarter researchers can work, the more patients benefit. To ensure that new, more targeted therapies become reality, we're equipping biomanufacturers with the tools and expertise they need to produce cost-effectively and quickly. How can tens of thousands of individualized patient doses be manufactured quickly, efficiently, and securely? The answer, with a healthy dose of expertise and innovation. We're creating processes and solutions that are scalable and address complex needs. We work to deliver diagnostic tools and other technologies to bring the right therapy to the right patient at the right time, so that life-saving medicines come within the reach of more people and could save more lives. Cell culture, protein purification, biomarker imaging, and analysis. It may not be what most think about when envisioning the future of healthcare, but this is what we do. Our part in changing the world. Advancing and accelerating. Discovery, manufacturing, diagnostics, future therapeutics.
to regulatory compliance is long and filled with choices. With a combination of standards, process, and service, USP can help guide your path to compliant, quality products. Trust the standard that sets the benchmark for medicines. Our robust and collaborative scientific process is part of our comprehensive approach. We offer reference standards that are tied to USP monographs to help you minimize risk and enhance your confidence in compliance. Reduce time and resources spent developing in-house standards and streamline your path to regulatory compliance. We work with independent, volunteer scientific experts who rigorously review and approve our standards, which undergo testing by USP and other laboratories around the world. Ongoing testing of our standards helps ensure the quality of your product over time. And only USP reference standards are linked to official USP NF monographs that provide specifications for the identity, purity, and potency to meet FDA requirements without further in-house qualification and the needs of our global customers. With USP, you have access to our in-house scientific experts to guide you every step of the way. In addition to our best-in-class USP reference standards, we offer training, education, and other services. Our online resources help smooth your path to regulatory compliance. Our standards provide precise testing and validation guidelines, as well as reference samples for testing. Drugs can be made consistently every time. We are more than reference standards. We provide a unique combination of standards, process, and service. From buying to applying standards, we support your bottom line with reference standards that have been rated best in class by our customers. Talk with us to find out how we can help you navigate your journey to regulatory compliance. Contact USP at usp.org.
Welcome to Switzerland.
Department of Biotechnology, Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India and its public sector undertaking Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council, BIRAC, are organizing the second edition of Global Bio India from 1st to 3rd March 2021 on digital platform. The first edition in 2019 at AeroCity, New Delhi was a huge success with participation from over 25 plus countries, 190 exhibitors, 2,500 plus delegates, 300 plus startups, 50 plus incubators, 60 plus research institutes, 800 plus business meetings scheduling and representation from 9 states. India offers a unique destination as innovation hub and biomanufacturing hub for the world. Large talent pool, growing capacities for frugal innovation and manufacturing of affordable, globally competent products and technologies in healthcare, agriculture and allied area, food and nutrition, waste to value, sanitation and clean energy solutions. biotechnology sector is recognized as the sunrise sector that would have multiplier cascading impact on achieving India's USD 5 trillion economy target by 2024. Government of India initiatives reiterates the significance of biotechnology sector as the sunshine sector. Global Bio India 2021, the largest bio event, would showcase India's biotech sector strength and opportunities at global level. Global Bio India 2021 is expected to draw around 5,000 plus delegates from across the globe. Department of Biotechnology, BIRAC, along with its autonomous institutes, has been at the forefront in the nation's fight against COVID-19. The tableau, India Fights COVID, by Department of Biotechnology, Ministry of Science and Technology, showcasing significant contribution of biotechnology sector in the development of vaccine, under Make in India mission, India is now gearing up to become innovation hub and biomanufacturing hub for India and for the world. This happens to be the most exciting time to host Global Bio India 2021, India's largest biotech event. Led by DBT and BIRAC in partnership with CII, ABLE and Invest India. Together, we can transform billions of lives worldwide. Join us on the biotech journey. Global Bio India 2021. Jai Hind.
Welcome to Switzerland. Did you know that our country is not just a great place to visit, but also your first-class business location? We are centrally located in Europe, and we have the world's best infrastructure. Oh, and the train is always on time, so let's take a journey. Did you know that Switzerland has 4 official languages? Ja? No? Forse? Decidia? Don't worry, we also have excellent English skills. However, we don't spend all day chatting. We love to work. In 2012, we could have voted for longer holidays, and we voted against them. It's crazy, isn't it? But we're not crazy. Our economy and government are among the world's most stable. That, combined with our outstanding talent pool and a deregulated labor market, makes Switzerland the most innovative and competitive nation in the world. Our Swiss dual education system provides an excellent mix of both vocational education and apprenticeships. Now let's take a look at industry. Maybe Germany, the United States, and China are well known for their industrial output. But did you know that Swiss industrial production per capita beats all of them? Sorry, guys. Our country is small, but hey, 3 Swiss companies are among the global top 20 most valuable companies. Furthermore, we offer the best quality of life. That's why 3 Swiss cities are among the world's best for the highest quality of living. In addition, Switzerland is one of the happiest nations on the globe. Perhaps because we eat on average 12 kilograms of chocolate per year? Switzerland is the best location for innovation, has stable political, economic, and financial conditions, has the highest living standard, and welcomes your business. So tell us now, when will you invest in Switzerland? Switzerland Global Enterprise, enabling new business. Find out more at s-ge.com.
For us in the Aditya Birla Group, Odisha has been one of our most preferred investment destinations. Chief Minister Shri Naveen Patnaik's exceptional leadership has been the singular factor in the rapid progress of Odisha. The state government has leveraged its competitive advantages, including its progressive policies and governance framework, are a big pull factor.
I welcome you to Odisha. Come, join the juggernaut.
In healthcare, a vast ecosystem is helping therapy innovators become more patient-centric and more effective than ever before. Cytiva supports researchers, biopharma, and clinicians in the pursuit of more targeted treatments. In discovery, speed and accuracy are everything. The faster and smarter researchers can work, the more patients benefit. To ensure that new, more targeted therapies become reality, we're equipping biomanufacturers with the tools and expertise they need to produce cost-effectively and quickly. How can tens of thousands of individualized patient doses be manufactured quickly, efficiently, and securely? The answer, with a healthy dose of expertise and innovation. We're creating processes and solutions that are scalable and address complex needs. We work to deliver diagnostic tools and other technologies to bring the right therapy to the right patient at the right time, so that life-saving medicines come within the reach of more people and could save more lives. Cell culture, protein purification, biomarker imaging, and analysis. It may not be what most think about when envisioning the future of healthcare, but this is what we do. Our part in changing the world. Advancing and accelerating. Discovery, manufacturing, diagnostics, future therapeutics.
The road to regulatory compliance is long and filled with choices. With a combination of standards, process, and service, USP can help guide your path to compliant, quality products. Trust the standard that sets the benchmark for medicines. Our robust and collaborative scientific process is part of our comprehensive approach. We offer reference standards that are tied to USP monographs to help you minimize risk and enhance your confidence in compliance. Reduce time and resources spent developing in-house standards and streamline your path to regulatory compliance. We work with independent, volunteer scientific experts who rigorously review and approve our standards, which undergo testing by USP and other laboratories around the world. Ongoing testing of our standards helps ensure the quality of your product over time, and only USP reference standards are linked to official USP NF monographs that provide specifications for the identity, purity, and
Good afternoon to the distinguished speakers, dignitaries, and ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Department of Biotechnology and BIRAC, It is my proud privilege to welcome you all for this session, Building Capacities for Future India. Government of India, through its various ministries and agencies, has built an ecosystem that currently nurtures more than 3,000 startups in biotechnology. With a target to support 10,000 startups by 2025, we need to further strengthen the ecosystem. The session would highlight and showcase the existing initiatives and extensive contribution towards capacity building. The session would also draw recommendations for building India as the global biomanufacturing hub in the near future. May I now request Dr. Alka Sharma, Advisor, Department of Biotechnology, to give the welcome address and also talk about BBT's role in building capacities. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Chaya, for providing the background of this session. Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to be part of this session. On behalf of Department of Biotechnology and its PSU, BioRec, I welcome you all for this very interesting and important session on building capacities for future India. Today, I am going to share with you the role of Department of Biotechnology in building capacities across the country for early and late translational research and also for industrial development through its various schemes and programs. Some of them are biotech parks, biotech Urjit clusters, and also schemes such as cones and Sahaj. May I have next slide, please? As you all know that the DBT formulated biotech development strategy in 2007, building capacities for future was one of the key components of this strategy. This strategy was revisited in 2015, and now as per the current strategy, the target is to achieve $150 bioeconomy by 2025. DBT started its journey of translation in industrial development mainly from 2000 onwards, and then with the establishment of Biotech Park was the first scheme to promote and support early and late translational research in biotech sector in partnership with the states. After that, a number of schemes have been launched for capacity building such as Biotech Urjit cluster, cones, Sahaj, and so on, which I am going to cover in my subsequent slides. Next, please. In 2003, the DBT partnered with various state governments to establish biotech parks and help the innovators at that time to translate research into products and services by providing necessary infrastructure support. The biotech parks have been facilitating networking amongst various biotech stakeholders and providing entrepreneurial opportunities even in remote places in the country. So far, 9 parks have been established in the states such as Uttar Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala, Telangana, Assam, Jammu and Kashmir, and Chhattisgarh. An exclusive biotech park for women entrepreneurship is functional at Tamil Nadu. In order to have a complete ownership by the respective state governments, DBT has restructured the existing scheme of Biotech Park and has come up with the revised National Biotechnology Park scheme for setting up of biotechnology incubators, pilot plant facilities, and biotech parks in consultation with the stakeholders. As per this revised scheme, DBT will consider to provide financial support up to 30 crores per park or 75% of the cost of the project, excluding cost of land and building. Wherever is less, and remaining cost, including civil construction, should be arranged by the state government. Next, please. Establishing biotech science cluster is also one of the initiatives of Department of Biotechnology. Under this, after having the announcement by our Honorable Finance Minister in 2014, 4 biocluster have been established across the country as shown in this slide. Various facilities have also made operational under the existing clusters. To name a few, establishment of high-end facilities such as cryo, EM facility at INSTEM Bangalore, NCBS and CCAM, they are the users, and other than this, it is a national facility for the users from the entire country. We also have made functional advanced technology platform center with bioincubator, and there are many facilities which are acting as non-national facilities across the country which have been supported under the biocluster. Next, please. From the experience gained so far, it was felt that the deeper engagements of industries would add tremendous value to the product development chain. Accordingly, the DBT has proposed establishment of Biotech Urjit Cluster, that is University Research Joint Industry Translational Clusters, to create enabling institutional mechanisms to bring university research and industry expertise into the mainstream of innovation, translation, and commercialization. The guidelines for implementation of Biotech Urjit Cluster have also been finalized, and we have invited a number of proposals from various groups across the country, and they are now under evaluation. Next, please. We are also preparing ourselves for the future through COMS initiatives, that is Center of Excellence centered on new emerging technologies. Overall aim of this initiative is to build the knowledge base to stay ahead of the curve, as new and emerging technologies have an immense potential for transformation. A number of priority areas have also been identified in the biotech sector. Some of them are precision medicine, CAR T cell technology, gene editing, gene therapy, CRISPR-Cas biology, synthetic biology, epigenetics, marine biology, natural products, and medicinal chemistry, so on. Next, please. We at DBT are also, along with BioRec, have also taken various initiatives under Atmanirbhar Bharat. Here I would like to give you an example of setting up of DBT AMTZ Command Consortia at Visakhapatnam. This is a major platform having common shared facilities. These facilities are being made available to the innovators, startups, and small companies to manufacture their products. This is facilitating capacity building both in terms of infrastructure and also for providing training to the manpower. National Biomedical Resource Indigenization Consortium, that is NBRIC, has also been established with the aim to bridge the demand-supply gaps of biologicals and decrease high import dependency of raw materials and equipments to become self-sufficient. Currently, more than 200 Indian manufacturers have been registered for NBRIC, and this has facilitated building capacity in biotech sector. And this is also now the number of companies and SMEs are now being increased through various efforts. Dr. Taslim is here with us today, and he can focus more on this, and he is the one who started in a pilot form along with other stakeholders in the government and also in private sector. Next, please. In this slide, you can see COVID-19 diagnostic products from various Indian manufacturers, and now most of them are into the market. This is some busy slide, but you can just see the numbers and also the type of the products which are there with their production capacities also, which is listed here. Next, please. So DBT has also introduced the DBT Scientific Infrastructure Access for Harnessing Academia University Research Joint Collaboration, that is DBT Sahaj Infrastructure Program, which primarily aims to create national service facility, research resource platform, and facilitate access to resources that could not be provided by any single researcher's laboratory or scientific department, but required for data acquisition, analysis, and providing a proof of concept to cater the need of a large community. So under the infrastructure for cutting-edge research, third phase of European synchrotron radiation facility has been initiated at RCB Faridabad, and I would like to inform you that the 46 national facilities have been listed under Sahaj portal. The response to Sahaj portal has been immense and can be witnessed with the fact that there are 1,80,000 users and more than 6 crore revenue generated have assessed either the equipments or the services listed under Sahaj portal since its inception. So now actually the details are available on DBT website, and whosoever is interested can visit and also use they can send the request to use these facilities for their research work. Next, please. In this slide, you can see some of the major infrastructure created under SAHEJ and that just to name a few, the infrastructure created at the RGCB Trivandrum, ICGEB New Delhi, INSTEM Bangalore, IIT Bombay, and ILS Bhubaneswar, and there are many more, but the details you can be seen from the website. So with this, now I will conclude my presentation and with the message that the DBT is promoting and facilitating capacity building in an integrated manner, and you can visit the website, as I said, for the details of various programs and scheme for capacity building. Thank you for your attention, and over to Chaya. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we will have the lead talk from Dr. Linda Stewart, Deputy Director, Vaccines and Human Immunobiology, BMGM.
My name's Linda Stewart. I work at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, where I lead vaccine discovery and I co-lead the vaccine response team. I'd like to talk to you today about the lessons we've learned from COVID-19 and how it might help inform building capacity for a future India. During the COVID-19 response, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation set out on 4 main goals: to protect the most vulnerable, accelerate detection and containment of the virus, to minimize the societal impact and economic impact, and to develop treatments and vaccines. In the R&D portfolio, we had 3 aims. First, to develop diagnostics that could detect COVID-19. Second, to develop therapies to help people who were infected. And third, to develop or to help co-develop vaccines that could halt COVID-19 and prevent transmission. At the Foundation, vaccines are a priority. We've been heavily invested in vaccines as public health tools with the greatest impact. Over the past 20 years, the Foundation has spent billions of dollars developing and delivering vaccines to protect children in low and middle income countries. And every year, the Foundation spends about $50 million on tools needed to discover and translate new vaccines and monoclonal antibody therapies for global health indications. In addition to our disease-specific work, such as HIV, TB, and malaria, we also invest in disease-agnostic way and have built a comprehensive toolkit of vaccines and vaccine and antibody R&D. We've also built an enabling framework that can help support vaccines for any and all Foundation priority diseases, including pathogen X, such as COVID-19. We generally prioritize cross-cutting platform approaches over disease-specific solutions, and we bet heavily on novel technologies and innovative solutions. And we have historically been very comfortable working on programs with long timelines, such as the development and support of messenger RNA vaccines. Our existing Foundation investments have enabled a rapid COVID-19 response. We worked closely with CEPI, the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness and Innovation, which with an early response was focused on speed. We also internally set out to support full vaccine discovery programs to identify with a couple of goals: to enable field enabling assays and to support partners such as CEPI, and also to try and identify vaccine candidates that would be affordable and scalable solutions for low and middle income countries. Our COVID vaccine response was enabled by 6 core pillars. We set out to understand the basic science around the virus. We used existing vaccine platforms. We leveraged our network to build an enabling framework. We prioritized vaccines that could be made at billion-dose scale. We tried where we could to accelerate their development and also began to help with plans to distribute vaccine using existing networks, such as facilitating tech transfer to organizations such as Serum Institute, which could manufacture vaccines at million dose scale. When we think about when vaccine discovery, we think about starting with infected individuals. We use those individuals to identify antibodies which can be used for antigen discovery and antigen validation. Those antibodies are used to identify optimal epitopes on the target of the virus using complex structural biology, and this is further optimized using immunogen design techniques such as was used for CoV-2, which was a 2-protein stabilizing mutation. Those essential to this cycle of rational vaccinology is testing in preclinical models such as non-human primates, and to establish immunogenicity and efficacy in challenge models, and then of course moving the candidate into healthy volunteers in first-in-human studies. In the context of COVID-19, instead of taking an iterative approach, this has actually been a linear approach and was based on the fact that we had significant information, structural information, on similar coronaviruses, MERS and SARS-1, and they had really been very well understood in 2017 as prototype-type pathogens. From that, when SARS-2 was identified, the crystal structure was very rapidly determined, and immunogen designs that were built on these prototype pathogens, such as the stabilizing S2P immunogen, were used to stabilize the vaccine spike protein. Another important part of the COVID-19 response was the use of vaccine platforms, such as we will discuss in a minute, and then these were put into non-human primates and really allowed us to go from discovery of the pathogen to first-in-human studies within 3 months. The key to this was the use of de-risk platforms such as mRNA, nucleic acid platforms used by BioNTech, CureVac, Moderna, and others. In addition, the use of viral vectored platforms such as the AstraZeneca and the J&J vaccine. And in addition, some more classic protein-based platforms such as this. This is an illustration of a candidate, a nanoparticle candidate that is currently in clinic with the SK Biosciences in Korea and was designed at the Institute of Protein Design. The other part of this was really is to have enabling tools for assays and reagents and correlates of protection. And the Foundation has spent some time investing in robust immune assays that allow people to compare across the global portfolio, would support regulatory filings, would allow qualified and validated assays for clinical candidates and for clinical efficacy, and ultimately, hopefully, lead to correlates of protection that could enable fast followers in the portfolio. These highly efficacious vaccines that have now been licensed or actually means that it will be likely that correlates will be needed for subsequent vaccines to reach licensure. So I think the key thing is, although these vaccines have been developed, we know that vaccines themselves do not save lives, and it's immunizations. And so unless we as a global community are able to get vaccines to where they need to be, we have not really achieved our goal. The inequity in vaccine access remains a global threat. And in high-income countries, we believe vaccines will be widely available in 2021. We know that healthcare workers will be protected, the vulnerable will be covered, and sufficient doses have been acquired in some countries to cover 3 or 4 times their population. Indeed, in addition, if boosting is required, such as to respond to the variants of concern, this will be feasible and transmission will be controlled. This is in sharp contrast to what we believe will happen in low and middle income countries, where vaccines will not become available until late 2021. There will probably be only 20% of the population will be covered. The healthcare workers may not be covered, and this could, of course, have major impact on health systems, and community transmission could continue and allow for continuing variant and emergent strains, and you will see continued seeding of local and global outbreaks. And this, India is fortunate in that it sits a bit between this, because as a sovereign nation, you are well equipped to make vaccine. But nonetheless, we anticipate that it is unlikely that there will be adequate vaccine coverage in any low and middle income country until 2023, 2024. So the significant risks remain to delivering doses to low and middle income countries. Poor suitability of vaccines which haven't been optimized for mass vaccination, so poor thermostability, such as or single dose vaccines are really lacking. There's a gap in the target volume. We would simply need, probably instead of 2 billion doses, closer to 5 or 6 billion doses would be required to get 60% of the population in low and middle income countries vaccinated, not just the high risk individuals. Tech transfer of large volume, there's been, for large volume vaccines such as the AstraZeneca vaccine, there has been a reliance on tech transfer to multiple manufacturers, one being the Serum Institute, but other manufacturers around the globe. And with those tech transfers are significant problems, or risks, I should say. The regulatory path is complex, particularly for the follow-on vaccines, and the pricing for a lot of vaccines remain unaffordable for mass vaccination in low and middle income countries. And finally, the sustainability to control transmission to get higher levels of coverage, or if boosting is required, is also a concern. So to really try and address this, the Foundation has been working very closely with CEPI to try and identify a second wave of vaccine candidates that might be better suited for low and middle income countries. And those candidates are hopefully will be supported and will be able to increase the global volume of doses going into the COVAX facility. So just to end my talk, I thought I would spend a moment and just think a little bit about what India could do to invest and how they could invest to develop a full end-to-end vaccine R&D capacity. Really, for this to be, for vaccine R&D to be complete, there needs to be multiple parts of this complex puzzle in place for a fully functional vaccine ecosystem that is able to respond to pandemics. But I believe that India would be able to achieve this through relatively small investments, and they could greatly strengthen their autonomy and mitigate against vaccine nationalism. India has many strengths in the vaccine space, much more so than many low and middle income countries, in that it has outstanding manufacturing capacity and makes more vaccines domestically than any other country. And it has amazing talent in the vaccine development and manufacturing. Where I see there are opportunities is that through relatively small investments, India could strengthen the R, so the research in its R&D ecosystem. Vaccine industry could improve its links to cutting-edge approaches such as structural biology and immunogen design, better immunology, and improve national capacity for enabling sciences such as standardized assays and animal models. I think India must establish expertise in manufacturing capacity for new vaccine technologies such as mRNA. And one of the things that you may find is that a lot of the innovation occurs in biotechs and academic spin-outs, and investments could be, maybe want to consider increasing investments focused in that area, and venture-like investments could catalyze risk takers and innovators. India should consider how to build out also its monoclonal antibody and biologics, which represent the most common type of therapeutics being brought to market, and have proven value for infectious and non-infectious diseases such as cancer and autoimmunity. So with that, I thank you for your attention.
We thank Dr. Linda for the insightful talk. Now we will move on to Now we will move on to the next segment of the inauguration of the facilities supported under the National Biopharma Mission. I now request Dr. Hardeep to take over the next segment. Thank you.
Hardeep, you are on mute, please.
So thank you, Chaya. We can now move on to the next segment of inauguration of facilities. May I please welcome Ma'am Anju Kalla, MD BIRAC and Joint Secretary DST, Government of India, to please join us for this segment. Ma'am, we hope you are available currently. So, welcome, ma'am. With your permission, we would like to begin with the section on the inauguration.
Yes, Hardeep, please carry on.
Thank you, ma'am. So I'd like to give a brief introduction. The National Biopharma Mission is a Government of India mission program co-funded with the World Bank at a total cost of $250 million US. The mission is focused at accelerating affordable product development relevant to India's disease burden. To address the lack of adequate infrastructure to support product development, the mission had supported establishment of shared infrastructure facilities as national service centers that would work with leading academic and industry partners and provide integrated solutions to enable proof of concept establishment, critical evaluation, and validation of products that are in early or late stage of development. Some of these facilities are already operational, and the mission has supported 19 such facilities. Today, we would be inaugurating 3 such facilities. The first facility is the National Unit of Vaccine Immunogenicity Evaluation and Research located at Central Research Laboratory at KIMS, Bangalore. Pneumococcal vaccines were launched in the Universal Immunization Program on May 13, 2017. However, presently, Indian pneumococcal vaccine manufacturers and researchers are dependent on the recognized facilities situated in the USA and UK for immunogenicity evaluation, resulting in delay and high cost. In the last 1.5 years, with support from the NBM, the Central Research Laboratory has established a state-of-the-art dedicated ELISA and MOPA facility in collaboration with the World Health Organization referral centers. Within the short period, the facility has received NABL, GCLP, and GFGP accreditation. Apart from providing timely immunogenicity testing at competitive cost to Indian manufacturers, the center aims to develop, evaluate, and indigenize reference strains, quality control sera, reagents, and consumables. Other services include understanding the serotype distribution, virulence, vaccine impact, and drug resistance across the multiple centers in India. Can we please have the first video of the facility?
RVS was established in 1906 to promote education. Kempegowda Institute of Medical Sciences is a postgraduate medical college run by RVS. CRL is a part of KIMS selected by BIRAC to establish National Unit for Vaccine Immunogenicity Evaluation and Research. A state-of-art, well-equipped laboratory is set up for creative and innovative research work. This facility is recognized by NABL and GCLP. It is also GFGP compliant. It acts as a single-point workstation for investigators for their research. The center provides services for ELISA, MOPA, serotyping and sequencing of pneumococci to Indian vaccine manufacturers and scientific community. Various WHO mandatory tests presently not available in the country will be made available at an affordable costing. Experts in the field of microbiology, molecular biology, bioinformatics, and biomedical engineering are a part of CRL. CRL commits to the nation building by providing cutting-edge services for vaccine development and testing.
The next facility for inauguration is the facility for scale-up and transfer at Shilpa Biologicals Private Limited, Dharwad, Karnataka. Due to a lack of high-access cGMP and CMC facility to produce clinical-grade biologics, a significant portion of Indian biologics pipeline today is stuck at the entry to clinical stage programs. Shilpa Biologicals has set up a world-class contract mammalian cell culture-based biologics CMC facility, including fill-finish facility, for generation and supply of clinical-grade drug substance and drug products to conduct human clinical studies that is capable of complying with cGMP norms. The facility consists of pilot upstream production suites of cell banking and seed generation facility, upstream and downstream processing facility, and pilot filling unit with lyophilizer. Can we please have the facility video? Thank you. The next facility, the third in line, is the Medical Research Institute for Device Assessment, or MRIDA, located at Palamur Biosciences Private Limited, Hyderabad. Palamur Biosciences is a CRO specializing in preclinical evaluation of medical devices and drugs. It provides a complete range of preclinical services using in vitro and in vivo models acceptable to regulatory agencies. The facility is approved by CPC SEA for breeding and conducting experiments on small and large animals such as beagle dogs, swine, sheep, and goat models. The facility MRIDA is a high-end medical device testing facility established at Palamur with the help of BIRAC under National Biopharma Mission. MRIDA is equipped with a state-of-the-art infrastructure for animal testing such as CIAM, anesthesia workstation cum ventilators, intravascular ultrasound, optical coherence tomography, heart-lung machines, cath lab, etc. The facility can undertake functional safety testing of vascular devices used in cardiology, neurology, orthopedics, and urology segments, along with implantation studies in large and small animals. Can we please have the video for this facility?
Hardeep.
May I now invite ma'am to please say a few words.
Thank you, Hardeep. I can see that Chris Gopalakrishnan, Sanjeev Malhotra, Anita Gupta from DST, Manish Devan, of course you, Hardeep, Chaya, all on the call. A very good afternoon to all of you. And many, many congratulations, Team NBM, Team BIRAC, DBT, I should say Government of India and World Bank, for this wonderful partnership in the NBM and the successful projects that we are launching at regular intervals, I must say. All of these facilities are looking really impressive, Hardeep. I don't know if it's just the photography, videography, or we can truly feel proud that we are part of something that's actually becoming bigger than all of us, which is something I think all should aspire to. So congratulations once again. All these facilities are going to be the building blocks of Atmanirbhar Bharat. We need these facilities if we are going to be indigenously independent. And hopefully we'll aspire not just to, cater to our own domestic requirements for testing, but also be able to reach out to other countries and offer them affordable, accessible facilities. That is really going to be the need of the hour. I think, Hardeep, you mentioned that 19 such facilities have been set up already, or was it 13?
Yes, ma'am. 19 facilities under different medical devices, biologics, and vaccines have been set up.
Yeah, so it's a good number, and we can truly feel proud of that, and definitely keep up the good work and keep adding more facilities, keep identifying the gaps. And I know NBM has really worked very, very hard. All the people who work behind the scenes, who strive so hard to make these projects happen. Thank you all so much. And over to you now.
Thank you very much, madam, for your kind words of support. We also hope equally well that these facilities will be available to all the users across the country, and there will be a full utilization of the services we are offering. Thank you all for your time. Over to you, Chaya, now.
Thank you, Hardeep. Thank you, MD ma'am. Now, may I request Dr. Manish Devan, Head, Strategic Partnerships and Entrepreneurship Development, BIRAC, to give us the view, the role of BIRAC in energizing and nurturing the biotech innovation ecosystem. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Chaya. Allow me to share my screen. Let me know if my slide deck is visible.
Sir, it's visible.
All right, thank you very much. So I'm very pleased to be here in this very important session where we are talking about building capacities for future India. I am pleased to represent BIRAC and reflect what BIRAC has been doing to boost the ecosystem in this direction. We just heard a glimpse of the Dr. Hardeep mentioned, and Ms. Bhalla, MD BIRAC, inaugurated the 3 facilities. So that is the capacity building activity that we've been doing to nurture innovation from ideation to commercialization. BIRAC is a Section 8 not-for-profit company which has been specifically carved out of Department of Biotechnology to facilitate translational activity. It supports startups, entrepreneurs, medium and large scale companies so that they can undertake risk and high risk innovations and to develop and deliver innovative products and technologies to address the unmet needs. Within the last year, which is most familiar to all of us, you would have noticed indigenized diagnostic kits getting rolled out. We saw ventilators that were created, designed, developed, and delivered, monitoring devices, remote consultation systems for step-down hospitals, PPE kits, N95 masks, and of course, we are all aware of the successful vaccine story that India is so proud of. So all this has happened because of we have this thriving biotech innovation ecosystem in the country. Within this large network of biotech ecosystem, 125 products got delivered in very short time because we have this mature innovation biotech ecosystem in place. The countrywide presence of such bioincubation facilities and the entrepreneurs and startups that it touched uh, responded so well in a very short time, and we are all proud of that. Biotech helps to nurture, seed, and encourage innovative ideas right from students, entrepreneurs, and scientists, individuals to startups and as well as to large industries. So it through various sets of schemes and facilitations, it helps ideas to nurture into proof of concept, move to prototypes, minimal viable prototypes, develop validated, proven new products, and validate in the fields as well as early stage manufacturing going to the commercialization. And that it does across different schemes depending upon which stage a particular innovation is. Biotech has developed, as we just saw a glimpse of the facilities. So such facilities have been developed across these sectors and subsectors of biotechnology, enhancing our capabilities in biopharma, pharma, medtech, agri-tech, healthcare, industrial biotechnology, clean environment, clean energy, including waste to value sanitation for across the country. Funding seems to be the fuel to drive that innovation. So through various schemes and programs, BIREC has created provisions to facilitate individual researchers at undergraduate level as well as large companies who have been delivering vaccine, for example, not only for India, for the world. So through various funding mechanisms, at least from fellowship amount of few thousand, 30,000, 50,000 rupees to up to 7 crore per startup can be provided with. And for large companies and medium scale companies wanting to carry on even phase 3 clinical trials, schemes like BIPP, we have been facilitated where there is no ceiling in terms of the funding opportunity. We have also been able to mobilize private equity into this challenging sector. And I'm very glad to reflect that there are, under the Fund of Funds scheme, we have 13 such venture funds which have already partnered. We have also mobilized angels, HNIs, and early stage investors through the platform called Bioangels to provide that private equity for the young and meritorious startups and entrepreneurs. In the country, we've been seeding and promoting and fostering a culture of biotech entrepreneurship, and that we do across the ecosystem, including tier 2, tier 3 cities, so that people can know that there is a hand-holding and there are opportunities which are available if they want to tread the difficult path of entrepreneurship, and that too in the biotech field. There is end-to-end hand-holding and provisions inclusive. So there's now a strong pipeline of such young budding entrepreneurs in the country. We provide these budding entrepreneurs and startups access to mentors. BIREC is so proud of its stakeholders and mentor and expert network which is unmatched in the country. Any startup, any entrepreneur who is working in the biotech field can engage with this large asset that we have. We also provide dedicated high-end skill development facilities through technical workshops, evangelization workshop, business strategy facilitation, go-to-market strategy development, patent handholding throughout the country, and engaging all our partners, touching large number of young entrepreneurs as well as startups at various stages of their development. Biotech, being a government of India's a public enterprise, engages with ministries, departments at the national level. It also engages with partners, both public as well as private investors. Through G2G collaborations, it also engages international ecosystem partners. So all that access to these experts, mentors, and opportunities get extended to the biotech ecosystem entrepreneurs who are participating, as well as small and medium scale companies, including large companies as well as startups. We provide exposure to our startups right from the beginning so that they become competent and they recognize that when they are moving into commercialization, they are competing not only at national level but at global level. So that competence and that merit they must bring in, and they must differentiate. So it's very important that they get exposure at such national as well as international platforms, and that has been done through both like developed as well as developing economies ecosystem connect across the world. This slide reflects presence of specialized incubation centers across the countries that have been seeded. The red dots on the map on the left-hand side represents the incubation centers. There are direct regional centers which are also represented on the map. So there is a strong and robust family of BioNest incubators in the country, and 7 such biotech innovation clusters have been created, facilitated with technology transfer offices, funding schemes which are equity-based, specialized, higher order funding schemes, as well as opportunities that come to BIREC and then get disseminated for the access of individual startup and entrepreneur through this vast network of innovation ecosystem. If you look at the number of startups which are distributed in the country, we will see, let's say in a couple of years ago, 2017, we just were looking at 1700 plus startups. These got distributed in relatively mature clusters, as being shown in the red bubbles on the right hand side. 2 years later, 2019, we are seeing almost 2 times increase in such startup numbers. And in fact, if you look closely, this startup distribution is a reflection of the BioNest bioincubators also in the country. Going forward, we are looking at scaling of these networks so that a young entrepreneur or a startup doesn't need to move just because a particular capacity or particular infrastructure is not available next door to him or her. So this network will further get expanded. We are now looking at a critical mass of these startups which are at proof of concept, and they are now looking at facilitation so that they can move quickly from proof of concept to pilot, and from pilot to early stage manufacturing. So the technology clusters are meant to bring that kind of facilitation to the startup ecosystem and that has been a high priority activity, and we will see many things in happening. AMTZ pilot technology cluster shared manufacturing facility is one example. NBRIC, we will just get to hear Dr. Tasleem describe it. So these are pilots in this direction, and if we expand these across the country, that would really is likely to propel this activity forward. So by 2025, we are wanting to see that we scale this ecosystem with about 10,000 startups in place, yielding 1,000 plus products and technologies which are deployed in market, not only in India but world at large, and has a cascading effect on not only on the bioeconomy, which is currently sitting at $70 billion. We are looking at by 2025 we hit the target of 150 billion bioeconomy by that time. Birec's website also displays 150 marketed products which have already been deployed by these young startup ecosystem. So I'll stop here. Over to you, Chaya. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now may I request Mr. Sanjeev Malhotra, CEO, Center of Excellence, IoT and AI, NASSCOM, to kindly share with us the role of NASSCOM in integration of digital sciences, artificial intelligence, digital technologies in the innovation ecosystem. Over to you, sir. Kindly unmute yourself.
So sorry. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, sir, we can see it. Yeah. So if you put it on the full screen mode.
All right. So thank you so much. I am Sanjeev Malhotra, representing NASSCOM technology organization. And somebody may say, you know, why, how is technology relevant in the bio part of it? I think we know that the way things are going. I'll tell you a small incident. I was with in a panel, similar panel about 3 days ago, and Dr. Devi Shetty was there. And he was saying in 5 years, we can expect that it will almost be mandatory by law that you take a second opinion from the software whenever the doctor is diagnosing you. The amount of time doctor has to spend with the patient is so limited that the services of software will be mandated after some time. That's the direction that we are moving in. So given that how the technology is becoming important in the healthcare, in the biotech sector, and not just this sector, but every other sector, I would say, what NASSCOM calls is the coming decade, or this decade is the decade, you know, it's the technology decade. And that is the emphasis that technology is going to make, and the amount of impact it will have on the GDP is looking at $1 trillion impact, you know, in a few years' time, and not too far from now, less than 5 years' time. So with that, I will just give you a small snapshot of startups. You know, Dr. Manish has talked wonderfully about the impact Biorec is making on the startup world, and done a terrific job of helping the startup ecosystem in every part of India. I will just give you the little snapshot of the technology startups, you know, coming from NASSCOM. Some numbers are going to be, I think, helpful as a background. It's one of the most vibrant ecosystems in India, the third largest in the world, and growing at a fairly rapid pace of about 10% every year. So we have more than 10,000 active technology startups operating in India at this point of time. And if you look at the breakup of these startups, healthcare is a fairly large percentage of that. And if you look at it, even the growth rate of some of these startups actually is healthcare is one of the highest ones, especially this year post-COVID. I think the emphasis on this sector has increased significantly higher. So with that as a backdrop, I just want to talk about some of the areas where the impact is going to be made by these startups is actually spread in multiple areas, which is starting from product design. If I talk about product design and development, be it in on the drug simulation side or the response prediction, or on the genomic analysis. And we are seeing these happening. I think Bangalore is home to a lot of biotech startups, and they are doing a lot of work in some of these areas. Or it comes into the supply chains, or it comes into the patient care, where we are trying to get a better experience for the patients, better follow-ups for the patients, be it on the insurance side, reducing the time for the insurance settlements, or it comes to the personalized healthcare. And we are actually seeing some of it happening. It is no longer a talk. If you talk about diagnostics, image analysis is becoming, or ECG analysis, image analysis, when I say image, I mean X-rays and the MRIs, is fairly, well, I would say pretty widespread at this point of time, or getting to that level of adoption. So technology, I think, is going to be impacting. The idea of this slide is to say that it is going to be pretty much impacting the entire landscape, right from the drug discovery to the patient care and everything in between. And these are some of the cases some of our research team in NASCOM have actually worked on. And some of these things we also work directly in terms of some of the health providers. So probably I'll skip this slide for the sake of time. So we have seen, so many different hospitals actually moving in the direction of adopting some of these use cases, where it is they have gone from even predicting some of the diagnosis or the condition of the patient from what it is today. Some of these are in the trial stages, and some of them have actually gone to the higher level of adoption. But the key to this whole thing is actually having an EMR and digital records. That is going to be one big bottleneck, I think, which we need to overcome. And some of the government programs are definitely going to be helping in that. The health mission and so on is going to be a big focus on that. So with that as a backdrop, in NASCOM, healthcare has been taken as one of the top sectors for us to focus on some of the or put the entire might of the technology sector to promote health innovation in overcoming some of India's challenges also. The approach we take is we work with, discover some of the best innovations in the country that are happening, that's coming from a startup world or not startup world also. It can be coming from mid-sized company, large company. Help some of these solutions, become market ready, become, to the level where it can actually be deployed, be it on the testing side of things, or be it on the getting some regulatory approvals and so on. And then, of course, you have to work with the organizations who can scale it. So that's the third part of it. And this is how we have designed our program at NASCOM on the healthcare side of it. And the program that we call it is Life Sciences and Healthcare Innovation Forum, LHIF, called as LIFE. And this is now, more than 2 years old, and a lot of work is done into it. And I'll not spend too much time on it, talking about it, but just to give you overview of how we structure our effort. We have physical incubation centers in some of the states. In fact, more states than this. I have just talked about some where we have the working labs, but we have incubation centers in 10 different locations across the country, where we are actually running acceleration program for them. Then there are other programs which are running on top of it, which are meant primarily for adoption of these technologies into the user sector, be it in the medtech companies, biotech companies, or it in the hospitals and service providers. So with the goal that the 3 goals that will be nurturing innovation through our centers, discovering and nurturing innovation. We'll be focusing on digital adoption, and we'll also focus on citizen-centric programs also, not just work on promoting technology in the selected areas, but more at a mass level also what we can do. And that's where we have tied up with Biotech also, in one of the wonderful programs that we did not too long ago is Jan Care Innovation Challenge, with the objective of deploying 5 pilots in 5 different states and actually demonstrating on the ground impact of these technologies in the low resource settings, not in the urban areas, but in the areas where there is a scarcity of resources in terms of not high bandwidth and electricity and so on. So that program just launched, and I would like to thank Biotech team for wonderful work they are doing and how we have got to collaborate with them. I think look forward to a lot of the new programs with them also, given the wonderful work that is happening in Biotech. And then lastly, we are also doing some of the healthcare innovation challenges with some of the healthcare providers also. Some of the problems they have connecting as a part of our scaling up the innovation. Whatever problems are there, we consolidate. Some of them are common. And so these are the few programs I talked about, but given time, I just wanted to give a snapshot of these programs and some of the synergies and the technology importance in the sector of healthcare, biotech, and related areas. I think is going to be immense, and we look forward to some of the exciting times ahead, and where NASSCOM and Biotech and other organizations together can make a significant impact on the sector. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Sanjeev. The next speaker of the session is Dr. Tasneem, CEO and Director, CCAM. Dr. Tasneem would share an overview of the National Biomedical Resources Indigenization Consortium, NBRIC. Over to you, Dr. Tasneem.
Yeah, a very good afternoon to all. And it's a delight to participate in this particular panel and quickly share some of the efforts towards building capacities for future India. I would say that it's a very apt title to this session and alignment with what I'm going to share, because I think the building capacity is a way to actually be prepared to be in a way to respond in times of crisis and for betterment, both for the larger society India has. I'm Taslim Arif Sayed. I work at Center for Cellular Molecular Platforms, where we are coexist at Bangalore Life Science Cluster, which has CCAM, INSTEM, and NCBS, as Dr. Alka Sharma mentioned in her early remarks. It is an exciting deep science-driven modern biology campus where we attempt to take early scientific ideas through translation and commercialization. It's a large campus with nearly 2,000 people on campus, but attempting to build deep science and scientific excellence which can be translated and taken forward. For this particular work, I think the role that has been given to CCAM as a mandate when it was conceptualized by Dr. Bhan and Professor Vijay right early on. The idea was to build an enabler which can be play as a catalyst, actually provides high-end cutting-edge bioscience research and high-impact innovation in India. And just to give you a perspective of how such capabilities at institutional level can be utilized in such times like COVID-19. So I'll give you that CCAM actually last year and continues to anchor two of the largest programs that actually have been run for COVID-19. The one that we heard is a National Biomedical Resource Indigenization Consortium hosted at CCAM with the government partners DBT and supported by NBM, CII, and ABLE as industry partners. And as a follow-on program to that is a CCAM Indigenization Diagnostics Program, CCAM Index, which has been supported by Rockefeller Foundation with a very generous support. So what are these programs and where they built, what I'm talking about in a capacity building? So just to give you a perspective, as an indigenization, as we talk about, and towards a self-reliance, more than being proud of the self-reliance, there is a need to be self-reliant. And the need is, as I mentioned, it's a preparedness and betterment of society so that we can actually have our own capacity and capabilities to respond. I think it was seen very clearly when, as India went into lockdown, we realized that we didn't have much healthcare resources to actually help the larger society, and more so COVID-19 diagnostics capabilities, including reagents and kits. And once we didn't have many and we couldn't import much, the fear was the spread, the fear was the delayed treatment, and that is a catastrophic situation in times of pandemic. And that time, NBRIC and followed by Index was set up where we identified areas of, in current circumstances, how does the MSMEs and the larger industry look at it? What is the capacity and capability? And where are those gaps which requires intervention? And we realized that there were very few technical aspects which need to be addressed, and more so from a high quality and high capacity standards making. That actually we built a strategy, which I'll talk about very quickly, towards building this high quality indigenized diagnostic kits. It was not putting all MSMEs together, but understanding where does one stand and what technical intervention required to take them to the next level of regulatory standard, global standard reagents manufacturing, reagent processing, and then high quality, high sensitivity, high specificity diagnostic kits. So we actually built a consortium of MSMEs and brought the academic partners on it. So as Dr. Alka mentioned, we have large number of MSMEs as a partner, plus these academics, as we mentioned. These academics have expertise of decades built into it from the investment of government, but in a chemistry, in biochemistry, in the biomanufacturing and so on. And this became a phenomenal model, which we built it as a hub and spoke model, where identified the areas which were lacking in MSMEs, and then connected the one labs of chemistry at IISA Pune, Dr. Srivasan, for oligo making or amidites making and so on. Then we took Dr. Sarvanand's expertise from ISC and connected them with the larger people working on enzymes. And similar aspects were done across different MSM, aspects we built in at different COEs. So we built this center of excellences, which are already there. But idea was to understand the requirement and the expertise available and connect them and then take it further. So now this actually COEs work as a high quality technical expertise and facility centers for MSMEs and direct contact that we facilitate further in terms of the studies. So we have center now at INSTEM, which is a DBT Institute for Clinical Validation. We have a COE for biologics at IISc. We have COE for chemistry at IISA Pune. We have COE for antigen antibody biochemistry work at CCMB. So what you saw here is two MHRD institutes, one CSR institute, one DBT institute, but all of great expertise were utilized and connected with MSME. More work was done at NCBS, which is a DAE institute for scale up. Of course, then the quality COE at CCAM, the business analytics from Bridge, and then for informatics was done in support from the Genome. What this gives is that leveraging already existing strengths. And what is the final outcome over last 6 months or 8 months of work is this, where we actually have nearly project that within a month or so, we'd achieve nearly 1 million test capacity, not necessarily production, it is based on the demand, a test capacity which was really low at the left side of your table was there. So this actually says that we actually achieve high quality reagent manufacturing, then utilizing those reagents, high quality specificity, sensitivity based diagnostics, which are now approved by regulatory bodies like the DCGI and ICMR work and so on. So this is broad outcome of such a capacity. So I would say that scientific capacity building and indigenization and self-reliance, NBRIC or even Index is a great true PPP model where we work in understanding with a large national mandate what converged strengths of academia, industry, and startups, MSMEs, identify their strengths and requirements to achieve global quality standards and capacity, very important, and then leverage these academic strengths, industry strengths, and then have a dedicated mission-based approach to achieve a larger mandate, which was the original goal to begin with. And this is really a truly a great model that we could possibly look at in terms of capacity building towards indigenization and self-reliance. And I think something that can be perfectly something that we can build on. I would stop here by saying thanks again for the amazing support that DBT BIRAC has given to many efforts, including NBRIC. And this can be definitely, we can share more details from CCAMP and NBRIC at ccamp.res.in. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kasteem. So we are honored to have today with us Shri Chris Krishnan, Chairman Axelor Ventures and co-founder in Infosys. It is my extreme privilege and honor to request you, sir, to deliver the special address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Chaya, and all the dignitaries for participating, all the participants to this. First of all, let me congratulate TST and BIRAC on the launch of 6 national shared facilities. I think this will go long way in making sure that such research infrastructure are available to the scientists and the researchers and the academicians around the country. Now we have to come up with new models such that we allow maximum participation in the research that we do, maximum participation in creating world-class products in the country. And let me congratulate all of you on this. And it's a true public-private partnership, as Taslim already mentioned. NASSCOM is involved. Very large ecosystem is coming together to make this happen. My first comment is about the title, Building Capacities for Future India. I'm going to make an ambitious change to that, building capacities for a future world. That is what India truly represents. Now just look at the vaccine issue itself. Now the 2 vaccines that came first, the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine, were not suited to the rest of the world. It's suited to the developed countries, but not suited to the rest of the world, both from a cost perspective as well as from a logistics perspective. This is typically what happens now when you look at research coming out of developed countries. It's really left to countries like India to think about science research products that will serve the entire world, the 90% of the world rather than the 10% of the world, 100% of the world. I think this is very, very important. I think it was Dr. Linda Stewart who mentioned this in her talk about India's role in producing vaccine for the world. I think we need to have the confidence, we need to build the capacity, and we need to be ready. When something is available, if we don't occupy that space, it will be occupied by somebody else. So this is our opportunity, and we need to grab this with both hands. I am very confident about the capabilities that exist in our people, in our scientists, in our researchers. From my interaction with DST and BIRAC, I'm very confident that we have, and the role that BIRAC plays in bringing all the ecosystem players together. We have now the meeting of minds in some sense. Sometimes it's possible that an opportunity exists, but everybody works at cross purposes. But here we have seen that all the ecosystem players are coming together, working together to make sure that this goal is achieved. One of the reasons why Indian IT services industry, Indian IT industry is world class, and we have 5 out of the top 10 companies in the world, is because while building our companies, we also built the industry. We worked together. NASSCOM is a good example of how competitors came together, worked together to build an industry. I see the same thing with biotech. I see the same thing here, and I'm very, very optimistic. Manish talked about reaching a target of $150 billion. I think we need to achieve that and exceed that. At $150 billion, we'll be about 5% of India's GDP, maybe slightly less, but that's definitely a goal that we should aim for, because there is a need for this. And we need to come up with new ways, new models of doing this. The second thing I want to say is that as part of building capacity, we must be able to create capability and capacity in the latest developments that are happening. There is an acceleration, I believe, in healthcare, in biotech, that is going to happen. I am quite sure that some of you may have read about the mRNA vaccine leading to saRNA vaccine. I was curious about saRNA. I'm definitely not a scientist, but saRNA vaccine was all about self-replicating RNA vaccine. It's supposed to be even better than mRNA vaccine. And it was in the context of malaria that this news item had come. They had found, so malaria vaccine actually is a challenge, it seems, because it's able to get around the immune system, the T cells and things like that. Now with the sRNA vaccine, they believe that they're able to get around it and find a vaccine. Now there's talk about a universal vaccine for flu. So from a technology perspective, we are accelerating, and I strongly believe that in the next probably 20 years, we will have cures for cancer, we will have cures for some of the incurable diseases to date. And this is a very exciting period, and there is clearly a role for India in doing this. Then I expand the perspective from healthcare to include agriculture, include environment and pollution, sustainability, and things like that. The role biotech has to play is very, very significant, and we need to make sure that we create capacity, we create capability. Now, this will have to be done in a systematic way, all the way from schools to colleges to our research labs, and then of course the innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem. We can't start, with the innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem. We need to identify the best of our students. Now, all these are going to be multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary work. So we need computer scientists, we need mathematicians, we need chemists, we need physicists, we need mathematics and all that stuff. So, early on, we need to make sure that, we use our educational system, and it's not just our education system. the global education system works in silos, till now at least. So we need to make sure that our computer scientists understand biology, our physicists understand biology. Biology has now become central to a lot of the work that we are doing. In fact, if you look at the latest in AI and machine learning, that's computer science, the ideas are coming from our understanding of the brain, right? So there is a lot of dependence between the various disciplines, and so from the school we need to make sure that there is interest in these disciplines, and in the college definitely we need to allow students to look at disciplines that they are interested in, and we need to make sure that they are interested in some of these disciplines. We should allow for cross-disciplinary work, majors and minors from different disciplines to be put together. And of course, we need depth in science. We need to have laboratory facilities in these, and laboratory facilities with modern tools. I would even venture to say DNA sequencing and things like that must be now made available to college students, etc., because these are now becoming fundamental, skills that are required, stem cells, etc., fundamental skills that are required in these areas actually. And then of course in the research, so we need to increase the number of scientists working in these areas. We do have a growing number, but we definitely need to increase. And when I look at agriculture, when I look at environmental sciences, pollution, pollution research and things like that, we do need to think about increasing the number of scientists working in these areas. We need to have, BARAC has done a very good job of distributing this across the country, these capabilities, but we still need to think about how we can scale up. Our labs must be, at least some of them to start with, must be ranked in the top 10, top 20 in the world. Now, how can we achieve that? And I think we need to have that as a goal, that our labs will be in the top 10 or top 20 in the world. I'm confident about the people. I'm confident about the scientists. So it is, the question then is the infrastructure that is required. And infrastructure has to be world-class. You can't do world-class work in poor facilities, right? We need to make sure that our scientists get the best facilities that are available. They must be proud to work there. They must feel that this laboratory could be anywhere in the world. Many of you would have visited Infosys facilities and things like that. Why did we create world-class facilities? Why the IT industry invests in facilities? Because we firmly believe that if a customer walks into that facility, they should say, wow, this facility should be anywhere, could be anywhere in the world. This is better than our own offices, right? That kind of attitude must be there, and that kind of facility should be there. So our labs must be the best in the world. It should have the best physical infrastructure, technology infrastructure, and we have the world-class people. That I have absolutely no doubt at all. And if you are able to do that, then you will see that our labs would become, in the top 10, top 20 in the world in terms of the work that they do, in terms of the outcome. And as I rightly said, this is not just for India, this is for the world. What we will be doing here will be for the world. The other aspect that I would like to touch upon is we need to create sandboxes in which we can do some cutting edge research, and we need to make sure that we have the collaborative environment between government, regulators, and scientists and industry. The reason I say this is when it comes to biotech, some of the cutting edge work really is going to be raising philosophical questions. Should we be doing this? Should not we be doing this? Yes, we need to think about this very carefully. We need to address these things. But, we need to say, science happens, and then when it's to be deployed, then we ask these questions. I think there has to be understanding of how, first science happens and then it's deployed in society. I think, let's create the capability in science, then we need to figure out whether it can be deployed in society. The reason I say this is, from my understanding, when you just look at, the way some of this is going, again, I come back to the mRNA vaccine. Basically, you are actually introducing a code, a software, which tells the cells how to create something, right? You're injecting the RNA, which creates the virus signature in your body, and then trains the immune system to fight that. So you are actually injecting a code. Now this is very powerful because this can now be extended to anything. Actually, you can, theoretically look at getting the signature of the tumor or the disease cells, and writing the code for that and injecting into the body how to fight it, etc. So that's what I understand from the science behind these things. So this is going to accelerate innovation, and theoretically anything could be possible now. So we have to think this through ultimately when we deploy it into society and things like that. And so, we need to very consciously have the scientists and the regulators working together, and industry also working together to ensure that on the science side we create the capability, and on the society side we need to create the capability to understand what this means and look at it when it should be deployed, when it should not be deployed. I talked about resources. Let me add that we need money. And here the government has increased the funding. I would like to see, and in the biotech space, definitely the industry also has stepped up, but we need a lot more risk funding. There are still gaps when it comes to doing proof of concept in the laboratory before a angel investor or a venture fund comes to invest. There has to be some funding required for proof of concept. Second stage, there has to be funding to take something through the trials and things like that. And trials are quite expensive. So we need to have funding necessary for trials. Again, BIRAC is trying, but I think we need a lot more risk funding coming into the biotech space. And we need to create that willingness to fund such things in India. And maybe attract global funding to come into India to do these things. And we need to market our capabilities, market our services such that such funding can be attracted to India. We need to see what gives the confidence to international investors to invest in Indian scientists and Indian research facilities. I think it's very, very important that we look at that. Philanthropic funding is also very important. Some of the global philanthropists are investing in India. We need some Indian philanthropists also to invest in science in India. So with that, let me again congratulate BIRAC and DST and all the ecosystem players for building this. This is, I firmly believe, a crown in India's, a jewel in India's crown, and we need to make sure that this gets the full, output, full recognition that it should get. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, sir, for all the kind words and the motivational speech that you gave. not just for India, but for the world. With these thoughts in mind, may I now request Dr. Anita Gupta, Advisor and Head, NSTDB DST, to share DST's role in nurturing the innovation ecosystem. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Chaya, and very good afternoon or evening. So it has struck 4 to all the esteemed and the doyens of biotech and IT industry. So be it like Chris Gopalakrishnan, Sanjeev Malhotra, Taslim Arif, my own senior colleague Anju Bhalla, Manish Diwan, Dr. Alka Sharma, Chaya. So to one and all, greetings from DST side. So I'm just sharing my slide. Is it visible?
Ma'am, we can see your screen, but the slides are not visible.
Is any like my opening slide visible?
No, ma'am, it's coming black. Should we play it from our end, ma'am?
Let me just try about half a minute.
Okay. You see the screen, ma'am, now.
You can see. Is it full screen?
No, ma'am, it's not full screen.
Is it?
Now it is, yes.
Yeah. So let me quickly walk you through the kind of stuff we have been doing over the years to foster the innovation ecosystem. As you are already aware, that DST has been, you can say, the lead entity, as Madam Anju Bhalla has highlighted. We have done all the groundwork, laid the key foundation for fostering of STI, science, technology and innovation ecosystem in the country ever since its establishment. And the way we are as we speak now, DST is the leading extramurals funding body as far as the Government of India department goes, as you could see from this very graph. That has been our mainstay. We are recognized as a premium extramural funding body. And how it has shaped up the innovation ecosystem in terms of our global rankings. As per the Global Innovation Index of 2020, we have been consistently climbing up the ladder. We have hit the top 50 club and we have moved 4 positions. So we are actually climbing up 3-4 notches every year. We are regarded as the 3rd most innovative lower middle income economy in the world, and we have a lot to do as we go along, but these are something to be celebrated as far as the entire stakeholder goes who are contributing for this consistent progression. As you know, DST was already in the golden year, 50th year of its celebration. In the early 80s, the visionary people who were driving this department had thought of infusing and having a dedicated component to drive innovation and entrepreneurship in the department. It was not the main vertical, but like we were guided by the global experiences, mainly from the US side, Western side, and that's how this NSTDB stands for National Science and Technology Entrepreneurship Development Board came into being in early 80s. And then 84, we were the first ones to have coined institutional mechanism of science and technology entrepreneurship park in collaboration with banks and financial institutions. In 2000, when the services, the software India started having a global positioning, that our talented minds were really recognized, our intellectual pool. That's how we coupled our program and infused a altogether new program with a larger focus on delivering the services part. So the critical support services, whether it's a mentoring, whether it's a financing, whether it's a patenting, so all were included as a part of service offerings, and that's how technology business incubator came into being, and we sort of take pride in pioneering this very concept way back 2 decades back. And when PM coined the new program Startup India, Stand Up India, where startups, innovators, our young brigade was seen as the key catalyst of change, the change agents, we also aligned with all our offerings by systematically addressing the key missing gaps in the innovation to market value chain. And that's how we came with a program of its kind, which focuses on how providing funding for translating any idea to a working prototype, a Prayas program. One of its kind, another program, Entrepreneur in Residence, to create and generate a pipeline of potential startups. These are essentially students who are not opting for campus placement, but are bubbling with some idea and addressing a great problem. That's how we came with this monthly fellowship program. Both these programs have really delivered results for us in only three years of its existence. I think 70% of the recipients of these two programs have startups in place. Many products are already in the market, so that's a I think more than 200 patents have been filed. This I'll skip because the usual stuff which incubator is supposed to offer, apart from a modern workspace. And as I completely echo, whatever infra, whatever space we offer has to be really world class. And the funding, everything now, as we say, as we move on in the post-COVID era, it has to be, nothing has to be subcritical. It has to have minimum benchmarks, which is really competitive, which is really as per the global standard. So that has been a visible shift in whatever work, whatever offerings we are making. And that's how a greater focus on the IP piece also is now embedded in our offerings. I'll be sharing in the subsequent slides. So a robust network of about more than 155 odd incubators are already across the country, and we have really targeted many academic institutions of excellence, be it public, private. We have also experimented with like Technopark, which was not a institution-driven model. We have partnered with state governments, and the whole, this network, we take pride on now, have really helped a lot in positioning India as a global hotspot for startups. And since unlike DBT, we are sector agnostic, we actually target, most of our incubators are on multiple domains, be it agri-tech, ICT, AI, ML as an application piece for creating impact in variety of areas, be it healthcare, agri, nanotechnology, medical devices, to you name, and we have startups, and many are now in drone-based also applications. So cutting across various tech domains, our startups have started hitting upon the problems both from the societal as well as faced by our industries at large. So as I have already shared about the two programs underneath here, our position is a pre-incubation program, creating the pipeline, Nidhi and Nidhi Prayas, whereas we actually were the first one about 12 years back in 2008, started with the seed support program of first of its kind, also to provide an avenue for hassle-free seed support for the startups under incubation. Currently, more than 70 incubators have this kind of funding, and they have created very enabling ecosystem to really select, spot, monitor the startups while they are in incubation. Although within the incubation period, the span they actually are in the incubator, which is typically ranges from maybe from 1 year to 2 year to 3 years, not more than that in the kind of domains our incubators are in, except biotech, which has a long gestation period. This has really gone a long way in building the confidence, building the market readiness, and building the credibility for further scaling of products. And that has been, I think, more than 350 startups have benefited out of this funding program. And when we analyze, most of the startups post graduation really struggle in the market, and either they are stagnant or the kind of growth milestones are not attained. That's how we came out with a program of Nidhi Accelerator for as a cohort based program for 3 to 6 months, a typical accelerator as we are in the domain already are aware of. And the key piece in this offering is mentoring by real people. The people who have been there, done that, and that's how in 6 months, typical this program ends in the demo day. We have conducted more than 22 accelerator. Some are generic, and now onwards we are focusing more on a very you can say focused domain-wise program, because experts are different. You need to really reach out to the real experts, and so once they are curated of this program, the kind of investors they are also sector specific. So that's how more focus on the sector specific accelerator programs. And the Center for Excellences, we have created 7 Center for Excellences. We'll be adding 2-3 more by this year itself. IIT Kanpur, IIT Delhi, and T-Hub will be a part of it. And I'll just skipping. So what we have in terms of outcome and impacts of the kind of investment from the government side has gone in all our incubators, and it's a really, I'm proud to share that, like, with the kind of activities which were rolled out last 5 years have been really fruitful for us, and one could see we have built a capacity to nurture about 3,700 plus startups in 155 plus odd incubators. Another significant piece is that, like, the kind of employment which has been generated exceeds 65,000, and the cumulative valuation stands more than 35,000 crores. And another, this study was done by IIT Kanpur and was unveiled in September 2020. Out of 366 startups which have been supported with seed fund, each rupee invested in these have really garnered 5x from the external investors, be it angels or VCs. So these are snapshot of our achievements. We have been actually in terms of taken pride in engaging with all the leading private industries in tech domain, be it Intel. We started with India Innovation Pioneer Challenge. Lockheed Martin has been our long-standing partner for more than a decade for driving India Innovation Growth Program. Texas Instruments only targets the technical engineering students, and Tata Trust also have been our partner in the IIGP for bringing the social dimension to the innovations. With Boeing, we have established a state-of-the-art facility for aerospace. And then Plugin was the only hardware systems-driven program, because product-based companies really have a tough time, a challenging ecosystem as we speak. While softwares have been evolved and matured ecosystem, hardware ecosystem is where government really needs to provide an enabling platform, and that's going to be the key focus for our new mission of Atmanirbhar or Self-Reliance India. Millennium Alliance also is a program is a multiple partner program. It is DFID, DFID, then it is UNIDO, and whatever startups who are validated in India. India can have a market in the other developing countries. So connect with the African countries, any developing Southeast Asia. That's the key premise and objective of this program. And all these programs have really made good success for startups to scale up. We also provide 8 different programs to connect with the international market. These are all under IGP and different public-private partnership programs. With Brazil, we started off with only to facilitate market access for agri-based startups. With the 6 Swiss next, we have for academia industry training program, where academicians who have startups with commercial feasibility can be really build the requisite capacities to scale up in the global market. Canada, UK, Russia, Israel, only for women-led startups, and Rwanda, apart from Millennium Alliance, is a specific kind of offering for East African market access. Women entrepreneurship, women startup program, empower program, a WEQ program, and WEE, women empowerment and entrepreneurship program, with all leading, like I am Bangalore. We have IT Delhi, a zone startup at Bombay Stock Exchange. 400 women startups have benefited out of this program. And latest success story, Kutuki from an edutech startup through WEQ program has recently struck on $2 million funding. This is the very latest news I am sharing. And Kavach was a rapid rapid response to this public health crisis. And this was also launched in a very speedy manner. The runway was so short, and the funding which was provided in the range of 50 lakhs, 2 lakhs. And this was a real showcase of the combined power of our incubators network. And they all delivered when it was required most. 51 top companies in the 5 thematic areas, and 70% of these companies are already in the market doing good business. And the component of social component was added to it because many of these products were donated. I have many success stories to share about, like Cloud Physician, like sitting in the 12,000 altitude in Leh Ladakh. One can get the kind of ICU kind of facilities through cloud, where the startup is based out of Bangalore. Huel Life Sciences in the RT-PCR reagents. And Noka Robotics also one of the biggest success story out of Kavach, because we didn't have any of the indigenous ICU grade ventilators at that point of time. And within 6 months, with the power of collaboration, we could really fast track the market translation, because it involved change in specifications, regulatory approvals, bringing pulmonologists on board, getting it validated, and then hitting upon the market. That too in a very in a shortest span one could really think of. Otherwise, in a normal course, it would have taken 2 to 3 years to hit the market. And a very good case study has been brought out by Shrikant Shastri and Amitabh Bandyopadhyay, and this is going to be hitting the market in this week only. Apart from what we do under this innovation under the boards program, we have very key some of the key initiatives like interdisciplinary cyber physical system, out of which I think 25 odd technology innovation hubs, where we are giving funding more than 125 crores to top end institutes like IITs in all top futuristic and emerging areas, be it robotics, IoT, AI, ML, computer vision. All the latest emerging areas are part of it. We are also launched the quantum technologies and applications mission, and where we are actually now envisaging not only the high-end research infrastructure, but also engaging and integrating startups, MSME innovators under the entire big value chain, because now DST is positioned as a national catalyst to drive research, invention, innovation, and market translation. At the end, apart from what we are funding, is the Technology Development Board in charge for providing the kind of capital which is required for fast tracking indigenous development of innovations and technologies at a next level than what we do under incubation program. Way forward, let me just conclude what lot has been talked about. We are also deliberating day in and day out and churning new ideas. We have now new science and technology innovation policy 2021 shortly will be announced. But like the kind of consultations which has gone in, the kind of cross fertilization of ideas which has taken place, it is going to be decentralized, it is going to be evidence based, it is going to be inclusive, it is going to be expert driven, collaborative. And what more we can ask? We have National Education Policy 2020 in place. So coupled with these two and reaching out to the missing pieces still in our innovation ecosystem, whether it's a virtual incubation, mentoring, enhancing the mentoring, because we have talked to n number of startups. Funding is not an issue. What is the critical is access to right set of experts as mentors. So we are engaging with a new program, some professional accelerators in our offerings, because going forward, when you talk of building capacities, we have to have a synergetic programs which will eventually hit upon with speed, scale, and skills for the desired success. So that is going to be 5S formula for us. So all programs are currently being revamped with the new clarion call of being Atmanirbhar Bharat mission. So thank you one and all. And this is indeed an exciting space. Despite challenges, startups have navigated, we all have navigated, and this has really boosted our confidence that given any sort of challenges, we have the will, we have the rigor, we have the wherewithal to deliver. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We now have a talk from Mr. Ramanan, Mission Director, Atal Innovation Mission, who will give a brief overview about Atal Tinkering Labs and Atal Incubation Centers. May we please have the video?
You can start.
Hi, my name is Ramanan and I am the Mission Director of Atal Innovation Mission at the NITI Aayog. Indeed, it is a pleasure and a privilege for me to be able to join the Global Bio India 2021 event and share a little about what Atal Innovation Mission is all about and how it is playing an important role in the growth of a culture of innovation in our country and in enabling an ecosystem of innovation and entrepreneurship across the length and breadth of the country. Indeed, never in the history of India and never in the history of the world has science, technology, innovation, entrepreneurship become center stage as of now. And it is also has been tremendously fulfilling to find that the government of India actually launched a series of innovation and entrepreneurship related building capacity for the future initiatives. And this has come to the fore in the present COVID-19 crisis. After all, a simple virus has disrupted nations across the world, created grievous disruption to lives and livelihoods, created national lockdowns under the effects of which many nations are still reeling. And it has also created a fear of uncertainty of what the future holds for us. And therefore, in this context, it has been a tremendously rewarding experience for many of us to see that innovation and entrepreneurship has flourished because of many such initiatives that have been launched in the country, just as Global Bio India event is going to be highlighting to you, as well as Atal Innovation Mission. The Atal Innovation Mission was one such initiative launched by the Government of India under the auspices of the NITI Aayog, the National Institution for Transforming India. The purpose of this mission was precisely to be able to address not only the challenges that India faces, but also the opportunities that India has to make an impact for its own country and for the rest of the world. It adopted a very holistic approach in order to ensure that the benefits of innovation and entrepreneurship reach across to the remotest parts of our country, and indeed are able to reach across to many other parts of the globe because of digital transformations that is happening everywhere. It is important to realize that if you want to be able to build an ecosystem of innovation and entrepreneurship in our country, it is also important to build a culture of innovation in our young students, in schools, in universities, in the industry, in the civil society, in state and local government operations, and so on. That is only possible if we are able to build the capacity for innovation and entrepreneurship, inspire, enable, implement, and recognize the role that innovation has in our society. At the Atal Innovation Mission, therefore, which was launched in 2016, we launched on a series of initiatives in a very holistic manner to address this aspect of building a culture of innovation, as well as of creating that ecosystem of entrepreneurship that will support future startups of our country. At the school level, we have launched thousands of what are known as Atal Tinkering Labs. These are dedicated innovation workspaces in schools where the latest of technologies like 3D printers, robotics, IoT devices, miniaturized electronics, augmented virtual reality are being implemented in schools across the country so that young students from our schools are able to acquire a problem-solving, innovative mindset rather than the rote learning mindset that all of us have been used to. We also trigger a whole lot of, or provoke a whole lot of innovative thinking by launching what are known as Atal Tinkering Challenges at a school level, Atal Tinkering Fests at a regional level, and Atal Tinkering Marathons at a national level, so that young students are able to look at problems they see in and around the community that they live in, are able to use these do-it-yourself kits composing of 3D printing, robotics, IoT devices, miniaturized electronics, and augmented virtual reality to help create prototype of innovations to solve these problems. In the process, they also learn about sustainable development goals, which is now becoming so very important. Every innovation that the young student creates in the school is aligned to one of the sustainable development goals. This ability to become aware of the technologies that are influencing the solutions of tomorrow, and to also be aware of the role that sustainable development goals play in the future of technology and innovation, is an amazing development at a school level. Today, we have more than 7,000 Atal Tinkering Labs implemented across the 615 districts of our country, and we have more than 3.5 million students having access to these technologies and building a culture of innovation amongst themselves. It was amazing to find that in the last Tinkering Marathon that we launched across the country, where we launched 8 challenges, all aligned with sustainable development goals, we had more than 50,000 innovations, 50,000 students participating in innovation activities. More than 8,000 innovations got created by the young students. And then we had the top 200 selected for a future recognition of them, as well as giving them an opportunity to become involved in student entrepreneur programs and for student advanced innovation programs. This sort of implementation of this initiative is going to help build the capacity for future problem solvers and job creators of the country. We, after all, want to become a nation of job creators, not just job seekers. Similarly, now when they go into the university level, we are building world-class incubators to create world-class startups. Of course, Department of Biotechnology, Department of Science and Technology, all have been involved in such initiatives. The Atal Innovation Mission initiative has also launched more than 68 world-class incubators across the country. And just in a matter of 4 years, it has been able to create more than 1,900 startups. What is also important in this is that it has created more than 575 women-led startups. That's about 30% of the capacity of the startups that have been built in the Atal Innovation Mission. Now, this is very important because we need to ensure that our women entrepreneurs occupy center stage in the growth of our nation. We have only 13% women entrepreneurs in our country. We need to ensure that we have at least 50% entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs in our country. At the Atal Innovation Mission, we are having conscious focus on ensuring that women entrepreneurs form at least 40 to 50% of the startups that emerge out of the ecosystem. Now, India is a country with tremendous opportunities, but it also has tremendous challenges. We have opportunities because we are one of the fastest growing economies of the world. We have a demographic dividend, which is the envy of many a country, with more than 65% of our country under 35 years old. And we have technology which is changing the landscape of the world. Technology is becoming affordable, accessible, available, and advanced. How do we ensure that we bring these benefits of a fast growing economy, one of the fastest growing economies, changing technology which is becoming affordable and accessible, and this demographic dividend to bear in addressing the many challenges that India has? India has more than 22% of our country below the poverty line. We have 44% of our country agri-economy base. We have more than 715 districts of our country, but 115 of them are aspirational districts. At the bottom of the pyramid in terms of access to basic healthcare, education, medicine, affordable housing, clean drinking water, sanitation, waste management. How do we ensure that the 4,000 plus towns and cities that we have do not migrate, people from there do not migrate just to the 8 tier 1 cities? We have 650,000 plus villages. So we need to ensure that we create thousands of hubs of innovation and job creation. And that is what the Atal Innovation Mission is set out to do through its Atal New India Challenges and Arise Challenges. The Atal New India Challenges are challenges that we work along with ministries so that we identify solutions for creating national socio-economic impact, one of the important pillars of Atmanirbhar Bharat that the Honorable Prime Minister so eloquently identified. It also helps us to address the infrastructure needs of our country. We need to create smart villages, smart districts, smart housing, smart metering, smart electricity management, and so on. And therefore, we have a tremendous opportunity for entrepreneurs to grow in every nook and corner of our country and make an impact through their innovations. Now, in order to ensure that the benefit of innovations reach across to the rural masses, to the remotest part of our country, we are also setting up what is known as Atal Community Innovation Centers. These centers are very important not only to spur local innovation, but also to spur local job creation because they are community-centric innovation facilities. For example, if you're in Goa, how do you ensure that the benefits of innovation reaches to the tourism industry, the cashew nut industry, the fishing industry, the mining industry, or the shipbuilding industry? Similarly, if we are able to create entrepreneurs and create that ecosystem of entrepreneurship across the length and breadth of a country, we will be able to create local hubs of innovation and job creation. And that is what the Atal Innovation Mission has set out to do. Now, in order to make all of this happen, it is very important to have the support of mentors from the private sector as well as from the corporate organizations. So we have developed a large network of mentors of change, which has more than 10,000 mentors associated with our Atal Tinkering Labs, Atal Incubators, Startups, Atal New India Challenges, Arise Challenges, and the Community Innovation Centers. They become the main pillar on which we are able to build a sustainable innovation network. And at the same time, large corporates and multinationals are coming to the fore, both from India as well as from abroad, to ensure that they become part of the innovation bandwagon. We missed the industrial revolution that took place in the last century. But India has a unique opportunity to position itself as a leader in the knowledge economy and to be able to create impactable innovation that's going to benefit the rest of the world. Atmanirbhar Bharat is not just a call for being vocal to local, but also the ability for us to go global. We are one of the fastest growing innovative nations of the world, with more than 55,000 startups, more than 400 incubators, more than 34 unicorns, with 11 unicorns having sprung up just in the last year, which is the COVID-19 year. Now that augurs tremendously well for our country. We have broken into the top 50 of the Global Innovation Index in the last year. We are at a position 48 from a position of 81 just 5 years ago. And therefore, we now are in a unique position to break into the global top 10 within the next 10 years if we build the ecosystem of innovation, entrepreneurship, and capacity building across the length and breadth of the country. And that is what the Atal Innovation Mission and many such initiatives by the Government of India is set out to do. I'm very happy to have shared a little bit about what Atal Innovation Mission does and to become part of the entire innovation bandwagon that is sweeping across our country. I'm sure with all these initiatives such as Global Bio India Event 2021, the awareness of various stakeholders to become a part of this revolution becomes a possibility. Thank you so much for allowing me to share a few moments and a few thoughts on this very, very momentous and happy occasion. Jai Hind.
We thank Mr. Ramanan for giving us an overview about the Atal Innovation Mission and the amazing work done by the mission. On behalf of the organizers, DBT and BIRAC, I would like to extend a vote of thanks to all the esteemed speakers who have so generously shared their views, highlighted about the initiatives and efforts undertaken to build capacities for scaling the biotechnology innovation ecosystem. I'm sure the valuable information shared by you all will go further and will help us achieve our future targets. Thank you to all the eminent speakers, MD Bayrak, and our audience this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Chaya.
Thank you.